At Noise Complaints, when helping artists, some of the most common questions we encounter are: where do I get started? How do I develop my brand? How do I craft my story, or even figure out what my story is? How do I position myself? Today, I'm going to take some time to help answer some of those questions. Your brand is a summation of your unique story, your experience, goals, interests, and mission pulled together and displayed authentically to your audience to give them a reason to choose you and allow them to deeply connect with you. It's the identity you and your team craft and represent through your actions and visuals, whether that's a logo, attire, haircut, or the way you carry yourself. Together, these aspects add up to the entire package and make you uniquely appealing to your fan base. A brand is necessary because it gives you a greater psychological connection with your fan base. It's the value you offer that extends past your music. It allows you to create a magnetic force. If developed well, your brand will remain constant, even when you decide to experiment and innovate with new sounds, channels, and avenues. No matter what, successful brand will appeal to and connect with your core fan base because the foundational elements that you want to showcase are ever clear and framed in people's minds through your personal brand. So let's start with how you can figure out what makes up your story. Take some time and look at what are the prevailing themes or topics within your music. What is missing from your genre, or what do you want to see more of, and how can you fill that gap? What's unique about your music? What's unique about you outside of the music? What are the values that represent you, or what are the things most important to you? What is the story you want to tell about who you are and what's important to you? What's your image? What do you want your music to convey and make people feel? How do you want listeners to connect and relate with you? Start with these questions and see what stands out. Within those questions, you may begin to figure out what the pillars are that will form the key messaging for your brand. After answering those questions and studying your answers, you may begin to figure out where you can differentiate your music and how to describe it. You want to describe your music in a way that gets the imagination going, where potential fans can imagine the music in their head before actually hearing it with their ears. The pillars that you identify for your messaging should give a feeling of who you are and provide a sense of how people ought to feel when your songs come on. Your brand is doing a lot of the initial legwork by attracting them to your music. Even after they hear your music, your brand will continue to work for you by solidifying the connection between who you are as an artist and how your music is in the mind of fans. The next critical step in positioning yourself and building your brand is to think about your overall vision. Your brand goes hand in hand with the vision you see for yourself as an artist, so you want to align the two. In order to reach your goals as an artist, you should make sure to take actions that contribute to the story of your brand and align with the pillars of both your brand and your long-term vision. Ask yourself some of the following questions. What is the vision for your career? This includes music and non-music endeavors you want to try. How do you want people to remember you years from now? What do you see your legacy as? What are your short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals? Do an analysis of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Are you using a persona? If so, what aspects of yourself are you sharing with the public in order to create that authentic persona? What successes have you had in your career? What caused them? Are they repeatable? What failures or struggles have you had? What caused them? Do the actions you've taken and the music you've made align with the brand, story, and goals you have in mind? The idea here is to learn about who you are and where you currently are in your career to figure out an accurate current state. After answering these questions, you need to assess where you want to go, how you should pivot, and adjust your focus towards the future. While doing this, you should start seeing where the gaps are and what strengths you have that can help you fill them or work around them. Ultimately, this will help ensure that your actions are focused and are aligning with your brand and your goals. If your actions align with your brand, fans will feel the authenticity and your path will make sense and be clear to both you and them, making it easier for them to support you. After these exercises, you should start beginning to see an outline of the ideas, themes, and concepts that will make up your brand. You should also have your goals down on paper now. Make them as specific and trackable as possible so that you can use them as metrics for success and determine what activities you should focus your time on to actually achieve your goals. For example, if your goal is to live comfortably making music, calculate how much money that requires and tie back all your activities to that number and goal. That way, you can track what is putting you closer to that number or what is holding you back from it. With your brand pillars and values, strengths, stories, goals, and actions all figured out, you can work on actual marketing and communication of your brand in order to build it into a recognizable entity that attracts a fan base.